30 years of research from 5 independent scientists confirms what Carl Jung first observed in 1920. There are 5 types of soul exhaustion. 0.5. Most people only recognize one, and if you're lying in bed right now, unable to move, feeling the weight of everyone's emotions except your own, you're not broken. You're hearing the oldest language of the soul. In the next 60 minutes, I'll show you exactly how to decode each type. Do the shadow work, that 80% skip, and step into sovereign empathy, where you serve from overflow, not depletion. If you woke up this morning and before you even opened your eyes, you felt it, that strange, heavy exhaustion that has nothing to do with how much sleep you got. It's not fatigue, it's not laziness, it's something deeper. Like your soul is asking for permission to rest from a life it never agreed to live, and you're lying there thinking, what's wrong with me? Everyone else seems fine. Why can't I just get up and be normal? One of the most liked comments on a video about this said, "The hardest part about seeing too much is pretending you don't." Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's survival. 415 people responded to that, not because it's poetic, but because it names the exact pain you've been carrying alone. You call it laziness. Your family calls it being too sensitive. Your boss calls it not being a team player. Jung called it a message. In 1920, Jung documented a patient who couldn't get out of bed for weeks, not because of physical illness, but because her psyche had withdrawn all energy from a life that wasn't hers. She was living for her parents' approval, working a job that crushed her spirit, married to a man she respected but didn't love. And her soul, Jung called it the self with a capital S, staged a rebellion. It didn't give her a panic attack. It didn't make her angry. It just stopped cooperating. And the exhaustion was the message, you're living the wrong life. Jung called this soul exhaustion. And here's what he discovered. It's not one thing. It's 5 distinct types, each with its own message, each with its own path to transformation. Let me tell you about Sarah, 34 years old, corporate therapist in Seattle. She'd spent 10 years sitting across from executives having breakdowns, helping them process their stress, their failing marriages, their existential crises. Every day, she'd walk into that glass office building, take the elevator to the 12th floor, sit in her ergonomic chair, and hold space for pain that wasn't hers. By 3 p.m., her shoulders would be up near her ears. By 5 p.m., she'd need to sit in her car for 20 minutes before driving home because her hands were shaking. By 8 p.m., she'd be on the couch, staring at Netflix, unable to choose anything because her brain had used up every decision-making molecule it had. And every night, the same thought, I'm supposed to help people. This is my calling, so why does it feel like it's killing me? It's up to 0.5. Then, one Tuesday morning, and it's always a Tuesday, isn't it? Never a dramatic Friday, Sarah woke up and couldn't move. Not paralysis, she could move her body. But every cell was screaming, no. She called in sick. First time in 2 years. Then she called in sick the next day and the next. By day 4, her supervisor was calling, "Are you okay? Is it the flu?" And Sarah said, "I don't know what it is." But Jung would have known immediately. 0.5. He would have looked at Sarah and said, "Your psyche has withdrawn its energy, not as punishment, as protection. You've been living a life that's slowly erasing you, and your soul is refusing to cooperate anymore." This is type 1 soul exhaustion, misalignment, exhaustion. When you're living someone else's life, parents, societies, your past self's idea of who you should be, your psyche eventually says, I'm out. And the exhaustion isn't something to fix. It's something to listen to. Now, before I break down all 5 types, and trust me, you'll recognize yourself in at least 2 or 3 of them, I need to tell you something that might surprise you. Sarah's story, it has a happy ending, but not the kind you'd expect. She didn't fix her exhaustion with a spa weekend or a job change. She did something most people never do. And I'll tell you exactly what that was at minute 50 of this video. But first, you need to understand, soul exhaustion isn't one thing, and that's why most advice fails. Your therapist says, rest. Your friends say, quit your job. The internet says, manifest better energy. But Jung spent 40 years documenting this, and he found 5 completely different types. Each one has a different cause, a different message, and a different path to transformation. And here's what's powerful. Once you identify which type you're experiencing, and I'll give you a checklist for each one, you'll finally understand why nothing you've tried has worked. Because you've been treating type 1 exhaustion with type 3 solutions, or ignoring type 5 because you didn't even know it existed. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through all 5 types. And I want you to pause after each one and ask yourself, is this me? Because self-recognition is the first step to transformation. Ready? Let's start with the type that affects 60% of empaths, but almost nobody talks about. Type 1, misalignment, exhaustion. And this is the one that affects 60% of empaths, but almost nobody talks about. Here's what Jung discovered that changed everything. Your unconscious mind knows when you're living inauthentically. It always knows. You can fool your conscious mind. You can rationalize. This job pays well. I should be grateful. My parents sacrificed so much. But you're unconscious. It's not buying it. Jung called this the self, capital S, and it has one job, to push you toward your authentic life. Not the life that looks good on Instagram, not the life your family planned. Your life. And when you resist that push for too long, when you keep choosing should over want, safety over authenticity, approval over truth, the self withdraws its energy, not as punishment, as protection. Because here's the thing Jung discovered, the self would rather you be depressed and alive than successful and erased. 0.5. This isn't a bug, it's a feature. Soul exhaustion is your psyche's emergency brake. So how do you know if this is you? Here are the 5 signs of type 1 misalignment exhaustion. Sign number 1. Your successes feel hollow. You achieve things, promotions, praise, milestones, and there's no joy. Just relief that you didn't fail, like checking boxes on someone else's list. Sarah, the corporate therapist I told you about, she'd been Employee of the Year 3 times, and each time she felt nothing. Because deep down, she knew. She'd become a therapist to please her parents, not because her soul called her to it. Sign number 2. Conversations feel scripted. You're saying the right things, but you feel like a fraud, like you're playing a character in a movie about someone else's life. You're at dinner with friends and you're nodding, smiling, laughing. But inside, there's this voice saying, none of this is real. I don't even know who I am anymore. Sign number 3. Shoulds dominate your inner dialogue. I should be grateful. I should want this. I should feel proud. But there's this massive gap between should and do. And here's what modern neuroscience reveals. Dr. Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive people shows that HSPs have more active mirror neurons and deeper processing in the insula, the part of your brain that detects authenticity. Brain imaging studies from UC Berkeley confirm when you're living inauthentically, your insula, your brain's authenticity detector, fires constant alarm signals. That neurological state drains dopamine and serotonin. You're not imagining it. You actually process authenticity differently at the neurological level. So when you're living a misaligned life, your brain is firing alarm signals 24/7. This doesn't match who we are. This doesn't match who we are. And that constant background alarm, it drains your dopamine, your serotonin, your capacity for joy. Sign number 4. You fantasize about completely different lives. Not, I wish I had more money, but I wish I was a forest ranger in Montana when you're an accountant in Boston. Or, I wish I taught yoga in Bali when you're a lawyer in New York. These aren't idle daydreams. Jung would say, these are messages from your authentic self, showing you the life you're supposed to be living. Sign number 5. Your energy disappears around obligation activities, not just boring tasks, things you should enjoy. Dinner with family, team building at work, networking events in your industry. Your body knows, even when your mind doesn't. Your nervous system is screaming, this isn't aligned, this isn't aligned. There's Chavadyaw 5. Now, here's what I want you to do. Pause this video for 10 seconds. Actually, pause it. Count how many of these 5 signs you have right now. Not in the past. Right now. Welcome back. If you had 3 or more signs, type 1 is active. And here's what's happening beneath the surface. Jung documented this in 1920. Your psyche has withdrawn its energy from a life that's slowly erasing you. 80 years later, Dr. Elaine Aron's research with 1,500 HSPs confirmed when living inauthentically, your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Protect your authenticity, not because you're weak, because your insular cortex is detecting the mismatch between who you are and who you're pretending to be. And that detection system, it's exhausting. And that exhaustion you feel, it's not something to fix with a vacation or a spa day. It's something to listen to. The convergence is clear. Jung's psychological framework plus modern neuroscience equals the same message. Your soul is refusing to cooperate with the wrong life. And the only way out is to start asking a question you've been avoiding. What life am I actually supposed to be living? Not what life would make my parents proud. Not what life would look impressive. But what life would make me feel alive. And at minute 18, I'm going to show you Jung's mirror technique. The exact exercise Sarah used to identify which parts of her life were authentic and which were performance. It takes 7 minutes. It's uncomfortable, and it works. But right now, here's your first step. Tonight, before bed, write down one thing you're doing because you should, and one thing you're not doing because you're afraid. That's your roadmap. The should is what's draining you. The afraid is where your authentic life is waiting. So that's type 1, living the wrong life. And the exhaustion is your soul saying, turn around. But there's a second type that's completely different, and it's the one most therapists miss. Type 2, unmourned grief exhaustion. And this one is sneaky. Jung said something that most people don't want to hear. What we don't grieve, we carry forever, and what we carry forever eventually buries us. Here's what he meant. Every loss you never properly mourned. And I'm not just talking about death. I'm talking about every ending you never honored becomes a weight your psyche has to carry. Lost relationships you got over too fast. Career paths you abandoned without looking back. Versions of yourself you outgrew but never said goodbye to. Dreams you buried under "be realistic." And here's what happens in American culture especially. We're taught to be strong, move on, don't dwell, look forward. But Jung found something that contradicts all of that. Grief that isn't processed doesn't disappear. It goes underground, and it slowly drains your life force like a leak in a dam. 0.5 R. And here's the cruel part. You don't even remember what you're grieving anymore. You just feel heavy, like you're walking through water, like everything takes more effort than it should. That's type 2. And for empaths, it's even worse, because you're not just carrying your own unprocessed grief. You're absorbing everyone else's too. Signs of type 2. Unmourned grief exhaustion. Sign number 1. You have a hard time remembering the last time you cried, not because life is good, but because you shut that valve off years ago. Someone taught you, maybe a parent, maybe society, that crying is weak. So you stopped. And now even when grief comes, nothing comes out. Sign number 2. You feel emotionally numb, not depressed. Numb. Like you're watching your life through plexiglass. You can see what's happening, but you can't feel it. Joy doesn't touch you. Neither does sadness. You're just flat. One comment on a video about this said, "It's like I don't want to live, but I don't want to die. I'm just here." 494 people liked that comment. Because that numbness? That's unmourned grief, shutting down your emotional system to protect you from feeling too much. Sign number 3. You avoid certain songs, places, or memories, not consciously. But you notice, you never drive past your childhood home. You never listen to that band. You never look at old photos. Your psyche is protecting you from grief you never processed. Sign number 4. Nostalgia hits you like a truck. Randomly, a smell, a song, a season. And suddenly, you're gutted and you can't figure out why. That's grief, trying to get your attention. Dr. Mary Frances O'Connor's grief research shows that unprocessed loss creates what she calls yearning, a chronic low-level stress state where your brain is constantly scanning for what's missing. That scanning, it uses energy, a lot of energy. It's why you can sleep 10 hours and wake up exhausted. Your brain is working overtime searching for something you never said goodbye to. Sign number 5. You have unfinished conversations in your head with people who are gone, with your younger self, with the person you thought you'd become. You're still arguing with your dad who died 5 years ago, still explaining yourself to the ex who left, still apologizing to the version of you who had bigger dreams. 05. Here's your exercise. Grab a piece of paper, not your phone, paper, and write down 3 losses you never honored. Not deaths, necessarily. Endings, transitions, versions of yourself you left behind, the job you left, the person you used to be, the dream you gave up. And if you can't think of any, that's the clearest sign type 2 is active. Because we've all lost. If you can't access it, it's buried. And buried grief becomes a soul exhaustion. Here's what's happening when type 2 is active. Your psyche is using massive amounts of energy to keep grief underground. It's like holding a beach ball underwater. It takes constant effort. And that effort, that's your exhaustion. And for empaths specifically, it's worse. Because you're not just carrying your own unmourned grief. You're absorbing everyone else's too. Your friend's divorce. Your parents' regrets. The collective grief of the world every time you scroll the news. Peter Levine's somatic research shows emotions are stored in the body. And if you don't release them, through crying, through movement, through ritual, they accumulate like toxic sludge. Type 2 is exhausting because grief is the heaviest thing a human carries, and when it's unmourned, you carry it alone. At minute 25, I'll show you Dr. Judith Orloff's grief release technique. It's a somatic practice, 5 minutes. You'll need privacy because you might cry, and that's the point. But tonight, here's what you do. Light a candle, just one, and say out loud, I acknowledge the losses I never honored. I'm ready to grieve. You don't have to do anything else. Just that sentence. Your unconscious will hear it, and the grief will start moving. So that's type 2, unmourned grief, and we'll come back to how to release it in the practice section. But first, type 3. And this is the 140% of comments on Empath videos mention. Type 3, emotional overload, exhaustion. The empath's occupational hazard. Type 3, emotional overload exhaustion. This is the most common type for empaths, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You walk into a room, and within 30 seconds, you can feel the tension. You sit next to someone on the bus, and you're suddenly anxious for no reason. You scroll social media, and you're crying about a stranger's tragedy. One comment from my research said, I absorb everyone's emotions. I don't know where I end, and they begin. And by 3 p.m. every day, I'm carrying 50 people's pain, and I have no idea how it got there. Jung called this participation mystique in 1928, a term he borrowed from anthropology. It means your psychological boundaries are so porous that you merge with others' emotional states without realizing it. And here's what makes this type 3 instead of type 1 or 2. It's not about living wrong or carrying grief. It's about your nervous system being perpetually in input overload mode. Modern neuroscience validates Jung's observations. Dr. Elaine Aron's research with 1,500 highly sensitive people confirms that if you're an HSP, your brain processes sensory and emotional information more deeply. You have 40% more active mirror neurons than average. Neuroscience research from UC Berkeley shows when someone near you feels anxiety, your mirror neurons fire and your brain literally mirrors that state. You literally feel more. Clock 0.5 not metaphorically, literally. Your insular cortex, empathy center, is lighting up constantly when you're around people. Brain scans confirm this. And that neurological state, it's exhausting. Type 3, emotional overload signs. Sign number 1, your social battery drains in minutes, not hours. Coffee with a friend? You need 3 hours alone after. A family dinner? You're done for the day. It's not that you don't love people. It's that being around people is like standing next to a speaker at a concert. It's just too much input. Sign number 2. You avoid crowds, malls, concerts, not because you're antisocial, because the sensory input is physically painful. All those people, all those emotions, all bouncing off you at once. Your nervous system can't filter it, so it takes everything in. One person described it like this. It's like everyone else has a screen door and I have no door at all. Everything just comes in. That's type 3. No filter, no door. Just input, input, input until you collapse. Sign number 3. You can't watch the news. Can't scroll social media without feeling everyone's pain in your body. It's not caring too much. It's nervous system overwhelm. Your mirror neurons are firing for every story, every post, every tragedy, and your body responds like it's happening to you. Neuroscience research from UC Berkeley shows that mirror neurons in highly empathic people fire up to 40% more intensely than average. When someone near you feels anxiety, your brain literally mirrors that state. You're not being dramatic. Your neurons are doing their job. Sign number 4. You get emotional hangovers. After a social event, even a good one, you need a day to recover. People think you're flaky when you cancel plans. But you're not flaky. You're actually just full, like a sponge that's absorbed too much water. Sign number 5. You're the person everyone comes to with their problems, and you can't say no because their pain feels like your pain. So you absorb it, and then you wonder, why am I exhausted when all I did was listen? Because listening for you isn't passive, it's full body absorption. A hazard 05. Quick exercise. Think about yesterday. How many people's emotional states did you absorb? Your partner's stress, your coworker's anxiety, that angry person in traffic, the sad story on your feed. Count them. Actually count. If the number is more than 5, type 3 is crushing you, and your soul exhaustion isn't laziness. It's your system screaming, I need a break from everyone else's nervous system. Here's what's happening with type 3. Your vagus nerve, the main nerve of your parasympathetic nervous system, is stuck in social engagement mode 24/7. In a healthy nervous system, you shift between states. Social engagement, calm rest, social engagement. But in type 3, you never leave social engagement, even when you're alone, because you're replaying conversations, worrying about how someone felt, processing the emotional residue of 4 to 7 interactions. Peter Levine's somatic research shows emotions are stored in the body, and if you don't release them through movement, sound, shaking, crying, they accumulate. At minute 28, I'll show you Dr. Judith Orloff's 5-minute shower technique. It's a visualization practice. Sounds too simple to work. It works. And the shaking exercise from Peter Levine, 2 minutes. You'll do it right there in the video with me. But right now, close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths and say, what I'm feeling right now might not be mine. I release what isn't mine. That's it. Your nervous system will start to sort mine versus theirs, and you'll feel lighter. So that's type 3, emotional overload. The empath's occupational hazard. Now, type 4 is different. This one is temporary. But if you're in it right now, it explains everything. Type 4, transition exhaustion. The most misunderstood type. Jung called it the liminal space, the threshold between who you were and who you're becoming. And here's what he discovered. Psychological transformation isn't instant. There's a period, sometimes months, sometimes years, where you're between identities. You've left your old life, but you haven't arrived at the new one. You're in the hallway. And that in-between space, it's exhausting because your psyche is doing something invisible. It's reorganizing your entire sense of self, deconstructing old beliefs, integrating new truths, building a new identity from the ground up. And while that's happening, you feel nothing, numb, empty, like you're in a waiting room with no magazines and no idea when your name will be called. Like the little wife of ours. The exhaustion of type 4 isn't from doing too much, it's from becoming too much. Evolution is exhausting. Signs you're in type 4. Transition exhaustion. Sign number 1, you recently had a major life change. Breakup, job change, move, death, spiritual awakening, and now, even though the crisis is over, you feel hollow, like the shock wore off, but the emptiness didn't. Sign number 2. Things that used to light you up don't anymore. Not because you're depressed, but because you're not the person who liked those things anymore. Your favorite show feels boring. Your hobbies feel pointless. You're mourning your old interests without knowing what new ones will replace them. From my research, I used to love my job. Now I show up and I'm just blank. It's not that the job changed. I changed. And I don't know who I am now. That's the liminal space between old identity and new. Sign number 3, you're grieving your old self. Even if your old life was toxic, there's a part of you that misses the familiarity. You knew who you were, even if who you were wasn't good for you. Now, you don't know anything. Sign number 4, you feel like you don't know who you are. What do I even like? What do I want? These aren't rhetorical questions. You genuinely don't know. Your preferences, your values, your personality, it all feels under construction. Sign number 5, everything feels temporary. You can't commit to anything because you don't know who you'll be in 6 months. So you hover, you pause, you wait. And that waiting is exhausting. Now, show 5 first. If you're nodding at 4 out of 5, you're in the liminal. And the exhaustion makes sense. You're between deaths and births, and both take enormous energy. Here's the good news about type 4. It's temporary. Jung said the liminal space lasts as long as it needs to. You can't rush it, but you can support it. The exhaustion isn't a problem to solve. It's energy being redirected toward building your new self, like a caterpillar in a cocoon, messy, invisible, essential. And at minute 45, I'll show you the 90-day integration roadmap. Specific steps for moving through this phase without getting stuck. Month 1, stillness. Month 2, boundaries. Month 3, emergence. But tonight, journal this question. Who am I becoming? Not who should I become, but who is emerging, even if you can't see it clearly yet. Your unconscious knows, even when your conscious mind doesn't. One more type. Type 5. And this one is only for empaths. Most people never experience it. But if you're a creator, healer, or artist, you know this one intimately. Type 5. Blocked creativity, exhaustion. And this is Jung's most controversial finding. He said, the creative urge is not a luxury. It's a psychological necessity. And when it's blocked, the energy doesn't disappear. It rots inside you and becomes depression, anxiety, and soul exhaustion. Now, when I say creativity, I don't just mean art. I mean the urge to bring something new into the world. A business, a garden, a way of parenting, a solution to a problem, an idea you can't stop thinking about. Empaths specifically have what Jung called psychic fertility. You're constantly receiving ideas, insights, visions. Your unconscious is loud. But here's the trap. Most empaths are so busy taking care of everyone else that your own creative fire gets buried. You tell yourself, I'll paint when I have time. I'll write that book when the kids are older. I'll start that business when I'm more ready. And meanwhile, the creative energy is building, like steam in a pressure cooker. The whole point. So it turns inward. It becomes self-criticism, restlessness, a feeling of, I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what. That's type 5. And it's exhausting because unused creative energy becomes psychological poison. Signs of type 5. Blocked creativity, exhaustion. Sign number 1. You have a project you think about constantly, but never start. The novel, the business, the move, the course, and every day you don't do it, you feel a little more dead inside, like you're betraying yourself in slow motion. Sign number 2. You're jealous of people doing creative things, even if it's not your field. You see someone launch a podcast, write a book, start a company, and it's not inspiration you feel, it's jealousy, because their courage reminds you of your cowardice. Remember Michael? 29, tech worker. He grew up playing music. Parents said, get a real job. He complied, made good money, hated every morning. His creative self was suffocating. And that suffocation, it manifested as soul exhaustion. Not because his job was hard, but because his soul knew this isn't why we're here. Sign number 3, you chose practical over passionate. And now practical feels like a cage, safe, stable, soul-crushing. You can pay your bills, but you can't remember the last time you felt alive. Sign number 4, you have creative spurts followed by crashes. You get excited, start something. Then the inner critic shuts you down. This is stupid. Who do you think you are? Nobody cares. So you stop. And the cycle repeats. Start, stop, start, stop, until you're too exhausted to even try. Research from neuroscientist R. Keith Sawyer shows that creative flow activates the default mode network, the part of your brain that integrates meaning and identity. When that network is blocked, your sense of purpose suffers. You can't access meaning. Life feels mechanical. Sign number 5, you feel purposeless, not depressed. Just, is this all there is? Like you're waiting for your real life to start. Like you're in the waiting room before the doctor calls your name, but the doctor never comes. If you have 3 or more of these signs, type 5 is active. And here's what Jung would say. Your soul came here to create something, not to consume, not to maintain, to create. And when you're not creating, your soul exhausts itself, trying to get your attention. So what do you do about type 5? First, stop waiting for permission. No one is going to give you permission to create. You have to give it to yourself. Second, stop waiting for the right time. There is no right time. There's only now. And third, Jung would say, you don't need to quit your job and move to Bali. You need to give your creativity 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes where you're not helping anyone else, not consuming content, not scrolling, just creating. Write, draw, build, sing, dance, garden, code, whatever your creative self needs. At minute 35, when we get to the practice section, I'll walk you through the dialogue method. You'll write a letter to your creative self, the one you've been ignoring. And that creative self will write back. It's uncomfortable. It works. But tonight, set a timer for 15 minutes and create something, anything. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be yours. Your soul will feel it, and the exhaustion will start to lift. Remember Sarah, the corporate therapist I told you about at the beginning? Here's what she discovered at this stage. Her trigger, lazy clients who don't try, was actually her own exhaustion. That single insight from the mirror technique, it changed everything. She realized she wasn't angry at her clients. She was angry at herself for choosing a life that drained her, for saying yes when her soul was screaming no. That recognition, that was her turning point. But the full transformation, how she actually stepped into her authentic life, what happened with her job, her family, her energy. I'll show you exactly how that unfolded at minute 50. Because first, you need the practices, the shadow work, the boundaries, the tools she used. Without those tools, recognition is just recognition. With the tools, recognition becomes transformation. So hold that thread. We're coming back to Sarah's complete story. But right now, you need what she needed, the how. So, those are the 5 types. Type 1, misalignment, living the wrong life. Type 2, unmourned grief, carrying unprocessed loss. Type 3, emotional overload, absorbing everyone. Type 4, transition, between identities. Type 5, blocked creativity, unexpressed purpose. Now here's the crucial part. Most people have 2 to 3 types active at once. That's why generic advice fails. You're treating type 1 exhaustion with type 3 solutions, or ignoring type 5 because you didn't even know it existed. So right now, before we go into the practices, I want you to do something. Grab your phone, go to the comments, and write, type, and then list your numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, example, type 1 and 5, or type 2, 3, and 4. That's it, simple. And I'll reply to every single comment with personalized guidance for your specific combination. Okay, deep breath. Le 0 point, what you just learned, the 5 types, the framework, the theory, that's the map. But a map doesn't transform you. Walking the path does. So for the next 20 minutes, I'm not your teacher. I'm your guide. We're going to do the actual work together. Shadow integration, somatic release, boundary practice. This might feel uncomfortable. That's okay. That's the point. Are you ready? Carl 5 Hall. Let's begin. All right. You've identified your types. Now let's do something about them. We're starting with Jung's mirror technique, the exercise that changed everything for Sarah, Michael, and thousands of empaths. But first, why this technique? Why shadow work? Because unintegrated shadow is one of the biggest energy drains empaths face. And it's invisible. Every day, you're spending enormous energy suppressing parts of yourself, pretending they don't exist, judging them and others. That suppression runs 24/7 like a background program eating your battery. Sarah reclaimed 30% of her exhaustion from this one exercise. Michael finally understood his creative blocks. Jessica stopped absorbing everyone's pain. This isn't theory. This is the actual work. In the next 7 minutes, you're going to do it with me. Jung's discovery: everything you hate in other people is a disowned part of yourself. I know. You're thinking, no way, I hate liars because I'm honest. But Jung would say, you hate liars because you've buried your own capacity for deception. This is projection. And it's how your psyche shows you what you've exiled. 3 principles. Principle number 1. Strong reactions reveal rejected parts. Visceral judgment equals that trait lives in your shadow. Principle number 2. What you resist persists. Denial takes energy. Suppression exhausts you. Principle number 3. Integration reclaims energy. When you own the trait, judgment drops. Energy returns. Sarah's example, her trigger was lazy clients who don't try. Mirror technique revealed she was projecting her exhaustion. She wanted to stop trying but couldn't admit it. Once she owned her need for rest, Judgment disappeared. 30% less exhaustion within 2 weeks. The structure. Step 1, list 5 triggers. Step 2, reversal, say, I am trait. Step 3, integration questions. Step 4, integration statement. Total, 7 minutes to map your shadow. Here's what you need: pen and paper, not phone. Handwriting bypasses inner critic. 10 minutes, uninterrupted. You can pause this video or do it with me in real time. By the end, you'll have mapped your top 5 shadow projections. Within 1 week, those triggers lose their power. Grab your pen and paper. Let's do this together. Step 1, write 5 traits you strongly dislike in others. Examples: selfish, fake or inauthentic, lazy, attention-seeking, controlling, weak, arrogant, needy. Write your 5 first ones that come to mind, starting now. Okay, got them? These are your top shadow projections. I know you don't believe it yet. That's the ego resisting. Stay with me. Step 2, say out loud for each trait, I am trait. Your psyche needs to hear it, not just think it. If you wrote selfish, say, I am selfish. Do all 5 now. Notice what happened in your body. Resistance, shame. That's your shadow screaming, we don't talk about this. But here's the truth. You have the capacity for this trait. That doesn't make you bad. It makes you human. Michael couldn't say, I am a show-off. His identity was built on being humble, but owning that desire to be seen, that freed him to share his music. Okay, step 3, answer 3 questions for each trait. Question 1, when have I been this trait? Be specific. Avoided difficult conversations, procrastinated on projects, chosen easy over right. Write 3 real examples. Question 2, what was I protecting by judging this? Example answers: my identity as a hard worker, protection from parents' judgment, moral superiority. Question 3, what changes if I accept this capacity? Example, I'd give myself permission to rest. Stop burning out to prove I'm not lazy. Stop resenting people with boundaries. Now do this for all 5 traits. 90 seconds. Pause if needed. Welcome back. Jessica's trigger: weak people who can't handle emotions. She realized she'd suppressed her own emotions for 20 years. Accepting her vulnerability, she finally set boundaries, stopped being an emotional sponge. 1 more step. Final step. Write this for each trait. I accept that I have the capacity for trait. This doesn't make me bad. It makes me human. And by owning this, I stop using energy to suppress it. Say it out loud. Example, I accept that I have the capacity for laziness. This doesn't make me bad. It makes me human. And by owning this, I stop using energy to suppress it. 60 seconds for all 5. Done. You've completed Jung's mirror technique. The energy you were suppressing, it's now available for your life. Over the next week, those triggers lose power. Irritating people become neutral, maybe even inspire compassion. That's integration. That's exercise number 1. If you actually did it, it was uncomfortable. Good. That means it worked. You didn't create a problem. You revealed an existing one, and you can only heal what you can see. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You just made darkness conscious. Exercise number 2, projection journaling. Solves. I don't know where I end and they begin. Picture this. You wake up fine, check phone, friends stress text. Now you're stressed. Work, co-worker anxious. You're anxious. Lunch, scroll Instagram. Someone's grief. You're sad. Home, partner frustrated. You're frustrated. By 8 p.m., drained on couch thinking, why am I exhausted? I didn't do anything. But you did. You absorbed 47 emotional states. Dr. Elaine Aron, HSP mirror neurons fire 40% more. You literally feel what others feel. It's neurological. Trap. You can't distinguish your emotions from absorbed ones, so you try to fix feelings that aren't yours. You'll never succeed because they're not yours to heal. Projection journaling teaches separation. What's mine? What's theirs? Once you know the difference, you stop drowning in everyone else's emotional ocean. Peter Levine discovered emotions are body states, not just thoughts. Anxiety, chest tightness, stomach knot, shallow breath, sadness, heaviness, fatigue, throat lump. Your emotions have a signature, a familiar quality. Your anxiety feels different from someone else's anxiety, but you don't know that yet. You've never tracked it. 3 principles. Principle number 1. Track reactions for 7 days. Every strong emotion, ask, where did this come from? Before or after the interaction? Michael example. Scrolled LinkedIn, saw creative work, instant irritation. Tracked it. Irritation appeared before reading the post. Just seeing their success triggered him. That's projection, his disowned creativity. Principle number 2. Notice physical signatures. Your emotions? Familiar? You know this territory. Absorbed emotions. Sudden. Confusing. Where did this come from? Jessica example. Her sadness, deep, heavy, in chest, has a memory attached. Absorbed. Her daughter's sadness, lighter, scattered, in throat, no clear source. Once she recognized the difference, this isn't mine. I can hold space without carrying it. Principle number 3. Patterns reveal your shadow. After 7 days, always anxious after talking to mom, always drained after meetings, always inadequate after social media. Those patterns point to your shadow. Dr. Orloff, 30 years. After 7 days, 85% of clients could distinguish their emotions from absorbed ones. Exhaustion dropped 25-40% because they stopped trying to fix everyone's feelings. 7-day method. Simple. Daily, 5 minutes. Every strong emotion, write. 1. What emotion? Name it. 2. Where in body? Chest, stomach, throat. 3. When appeared, before or after interaction. 4. Whose emotion? Mine, mom's, co-workers. 4 questions. Phone notes or journal. 7 days. By day 3, patterns emerge. By day 7, real-time identification. In conversation, chest tightens. Old. 2 hours analyzing why you're anxious. New. Pause. I wasn't anxious before this. This is absorbed. Let it go. Exercise number 3. Somatic release at 30 minutes. I'll show you how to clear absorbed emotions from your body. Recognition is step 1. Release is step 2. Let's practice. First entry right now. Grab phone or paper. First projection journal entry together. Think. A moment today or yesterday with a strong emotion. Maybe scrolling, suddenly inadequate. Maybe family call, drained after. Maybe meeting, anxious from nowhere. Pick one. Got it? Question 1. What emotion? Let's say anxiety. Right. Anxiety. Question 2. Where in body? Chest tightness, stomach knot, shoulders tense. Let's say chest tight, shallow breathing. Question 3. When appeared? Key question. Before or after interaction? Let's say after reading co-worker email about deadline. Question 4. Whose emotion? Your anxiety. You'd be thinking, planning, problem-solving, forward momentum. Absorbed anxiety. Free-floating. No clear action. Vague, something's wrong. Let's say absorbed anxiety, co-worker's stress. I wasn't worried before the email. Done? You just separated your state from absorbed state. Imagine 7 days of this. 15-20 entries. Patterns emerge. I always absorb anxiety from coworkers, but never from friends. Why? I absorb mom's frustration, but not dad's. What's the difference? Patterns reveal vulnerability points where boundaries are porous. Once you see the pattern, you can protect yourself. Real example. Michael, 29, tech worker, type 5, blocked creativity. Day 1, LinkedIn, saw creative post. Emotion, irritation. Body, jaw clenched. Who's? They're showing off. Day 2, team meeting, colleague pitched idea. Same irritation, same body sensation, still about them being annoying. Day 3, coffee shop. Overheard art business conversation, irritation again, plus stomach knot. Wait, why does this keep happening? Pattern recognition. Day 3, same emotion, same trigger, people expressing creativity publicly. Clicked. This wasn't about them, about him, his shadow, buried creative dreams. People who share work are arrogant. Every time he saw visible creativity, Shadow screamed, "That should be me." Irritation wasn't about them. It was grief for his unlived creative life. Day 4-7, shifted tracking. What part of me is this activating? Day 4, envy, I want what they have. Day 5, shame, I've hidden my music 10 years. Day 6, grief, I abandoned my creative self. Day 7, anger at myself for wasting a decade. By day 7, not irritated by creative people, inspired. 3 months later, launched side music project, posted first song, first comment, one of the LinkedIn people who used to trigger him. That's pattern recognition power. 7 days of tracking reveals your shadow. Once you see it, you can integrate it. That's exercise number 2. 7 days tracking to separate self from other requires consistency, but worth it. Every empath who completed 7 days, I had no idea how much wasn't mine. I feel 30% lighter. Dr. Orloff, 25, 40% exhaustion reduction after 7 days. Because you're not healing everyone's emotions anymore, only yours. You've identified shadow, mirror technique, separated emotions, projection journal. Now, what do you do with absorbed emotions? Recognition is step 1. Release is step 2. Exercise number 3, somatic release. 3 techniques from Orloff and Levine. 5 minutes. Work immediately. You'll feel the difference in 60 seconds. Most practical exercise today. Let's go. Exercise number 3, somatic release. The piece most empaths skip, which is why they stay exhausted. Emotions aren't just in your head. They're in your body. Peter Levine, 40 years studying trauma. When you absorb anxiety, it doesn't just sit in thoughts. It sits in your chest, stomach, shoulders, jaw. Fascia tightens, muscles contract, breathing shallows. If you don't physically release it, it stays, accumulating day after day, person after person, until your body carries 50 people's emotional residue. You weren't just sitting in meetings. Your body was working hard to contain everyone's stress. Type 3, emotional overload at the somatic level. Bad news. Talking about emotions doesn't release them from body. Journaling doesn't. Understanding doesn't. You have to do something physical. Good news. Fast, simple, works immediately. 3 techniques, 60, 90 seconds each. Anywhere. Before meetings, after conversations, in your car, bathroom at work. You'll feel difference in 1 minute. Shoulders drop. Breathing deepens. Stomach knot loosens. That's somatic release. For empaths, it's non-negotiable. 3 somatic release techniques. Technique number 1, Dr. Orloff's shower visualization. Water metaphor to wash away absorbed emotions. Why it works. Your brain doesn't distinguish imagined from real sensory experiences. Vivid imagination triggers nervous system response. Technique number 2, Peter Levine shaking Animals do this instinctively. Deer surviving predator attack. Shakes 10 to 15 minutes to discharge trauma. Humans have same mechanism, but suppress it. Don't shake, hold it together. Shaking is how your body releases stored stress. Physical discharge. Technique number 3, vagal toning through humming. Vagus nerve, main nerve of parasympathetic system, rest and digest. Humming activates vagus nerve. Throat vibration stimulates the nerve. 30 to 60 seconds. Nervous system shifts from sympathetic, stress, to parasympathetic. Calm. Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory. Humming increases heart rate variability, marker of nervous system flexibility, by 23% within 60 seconds. Measurable. Science. That's why it works. Jessica used these daily before family dinners with ex, after absorbing kids' divorce anxiety, in car after co-parenting conversations. I used to carry everyone's emotions for days. Now I release in 2 minutes. Didn't know that was possible. That's somatic work power. We're going to do these together, right now. All 3. I'll guide you. Here's how. I'll guide you through all 3 techniques, back to back. 5 minutes total, sit or stand, doesn't matter. But recommend standing for technique number 2, shaking. These might feel weird. Do them anyway. Feeling weird for 60 seconds beats carrying absorbed emotions for days. By end of 5 minutes, lighter, less tight, more spacious in body, not placebo. Your nervous system shifting from stress to calm. Use these anywhere, anytime, after difficult conversation, before family gathering, after social media, between meetings, bathroom at work, your emergency toolkit, energetic hygiene routine. Ready? Technique number 1, shower visualization. Sit down. Technique number 1, shower visualization. Dr. Orloff's method. Sit comfortably. Close eyes or soften gaze. Deep breath in through nose. The 0.5 raise. Exhale slowly through mouth. Lasso 5. Imagine standing under warm shower, water hitting top of head. Water is warm, comfortable. It's light, energy, washing away everything not yours, flowing overhead, face, neck, shoulders. Each breath washes away absorbed emotions, coworker stress, family anxiety, stranger sadness, flowing down body, arms, chest, stomach, down legs, to feet, into ground, all washing away, leaving body, leaving energy field. One more deep breath, feel lighter. 0.5. Open eyes. How do you feel? That's technique number 1. You can do that anywhere. Visualization works. Technique number 2, shaking. Peter Levine's method. Stand up if you can. Sitting works too. Next, 60 seconds. Shake your whole body. Start hands. Shake like flicking water off. Arms, loose, floppy. Shoulders, up and down. Torso, bounce. Let body move. Legs, bend knees, bounce. Head, gently. Shake no side to side. Yes, up, down, whole body, everything moving, everything releasing. Feel silly? Okay. Animals don't care. They just discharge stress. Keep shaking. Let sounds out. Sigh. Groan. Exhale hard. Notice energy moving through you. Not stuck anymore. 10 more seconds. Full body shake. Stop. Stand still. Notice how you feel. Energy moved, didn't it? That's discharge. Technique number 3, vagal toning. Humming. Sit comfortably. Hand on throat if you want to feel vibration. Deep breath in. 0.5 pre. Exhale with a hum. Feel vibration in throat. Again. Deep breath in. 0.5. Exhale. Hum. Doesn't have to be loud. Gentle vibration is enough. Again. Breath in. 0.5 fast. Hum out. Notice your body softening. Nervous system downshifting. 3 more. I'll hum with you. Breath in. Hum. Last one. Deep breath. Long hum. Release. Sit quietly. Feel your nervous system. Calmer? That's vagal activation. 23% shift in 60 seconds. That's all three. How do you feel? Different? Your nervous system just shifted. Stress to calm. In 5 minutes? These aren't nice to have. They're essential. Daily practice. Daily protocol every time you interact with people, especially draining people. Before. Shower visualization. Set energetic boundary. During. Breath awareness. Notice when you start absorbing. After. Shaking or humming. Release what you absorbed. 5 minutes total. Saves hours of exhaustion. Jessica did this before every family dinner. After 2-minute car shake, changed everything. I can show up fully without losing myself. Didn't know that was possible. Practice done. 3 exercises. 1. Mirror technique, shadow integration. 2. Projection journal, emotion separation. 3. Somatic release, physical discharge. You have the tools. Now, boundaries. Because releasing absorbed emotions is step 1. Not absorbing them is step 2. Next 10 minutes, 5 boundary scripts that actually work. For family, work, friends, dating, energy vampires, exact words, real situations. Let's go. Okay, you've done shadow work. You've learned to release absorbed emotions. But there's one piece missing. And it's the piece that 1,300 people liked in a comment. Empathy without boundaries is destruction. There's Empathic. Remember Sarah? By month 2, she'd done the shadow work. She understood her exhaustion. She'd identified her triggers. But she was still carrying 40 clients, still answering emails at 10 p.m., still saying yes when her body was screaming no. Recognition without boundaries? It just made her more aware of how much she was draining herself, which made the exhaustion worse. That's when she learned shadow work reveals the problem. Boundaries solve it. The exact script she used, the words that let her reduce her client load, set limits with her mom, reclaim her energy. I'm going to give you those in the next 10 minutes. Because at minute 50, when I show you Sarah's complete transformation, her energy going from 2 out of 10 to 8 out of 10, boundaries were the turning point. Without boundaries, she would have stayed aware but exhausted. With boundaries, everything changed. So these aren't just nice words. These are the actual tools that made Sarah's transformation possible. 0.5a. Here's why boundaries are so brutally hard for empaths specifically. Jung said, to have empathy without ego boundaries is to lose yourself in the other. Translation: you feel their pain as your pain. So saying no to them feels like saying no to yourself. It's not lack of willpower, it's nervous system enmeshment. You absorb their disappointment before you even finish the sentence. You feel their hurt in your chest. You carry their anger in your shoulders. And so you say yes again and again until there's nothing left. Brené Brown's research adds this: boundaries aren't walls. They're not rejection. They're clarity about where you end and they begin. But here's the trap. You've been taught your whole life that boundaries equal selfish, that caring equals boundaryless, that love means sacrificing yourself. So you give and give until you snap. Then you ghost everyone because you can't take it anymore. Then you feel guilty and come back. Then the cycle repeats. That cycle ends today. In the next 7 minutes, I'm giving you 5 boundary scripts that work, exact words, for family, work, friends, dating, and toxic situations. Words that have been tested by thousands of empaths who are now finally breathing again. Here are the 5 boundary scripts. I want you to screenshot these, write them down. Practice them out loud before you need them, because in the moment when someone's asking for your energy and you're already empty, that's not when you figure out what to say. Script number 1, the loving no, for family. You know this situation. Your mom calls. Again. 3rd time today. She wants to talk about her problems with your dad, or your sister's drama, or her friend's health crisis, and you just got home from work. You're already carrying 47 people's emotional states, and your body is screaming, I can't absorb one more thing. But she's your mom, so you answer and you listen. And 3 hours later, you're on the couch, completely depleted, wondering why you can't just say no. From the research, 35% of empaths mention boundary disasters with family specifically. Because family trained you from day one, your empathy is their resource. They don't mean to drain you, but they do. Here's the script. I love you and I need to protect my energy right now. This isn't about you, it's about me taking care of myself so I can show up better later. Let's break down why this works. I love you and, not but. The word but erases everything before it and holds both truths. You love them and you have needs. Both can be true. Protect my energy. You're not rejecting them. You're protecting yourself. This reframes it from I don't want to help you to I need to help myself. This isn't about you. Empaths over-explain because we feel their potential hurt. This sentence stops that. You're naming it directly. This is about me, not you. Show up better later. The future promise. You're not abandoning them forever. You're postponing so you can actually be present later, not half dead now. Jessica, remember her? 41, divorced mother, type 3. Emotional overload. She used this exact script with her mom who called daily. First time, her mom cried. Said, you've changed. You're not as caring as you used to be. Jessica almost broke. Almost went back to old pattern, but she held the boundary. Second time, mom was less hurt, more confused. Third time, mom called and asked, is now a good time? For the first time in 41 years. Now they talk twice a week, and both of them enjoy it more because Jessica's not resentful and exhausted. Script number 2, the professional buffer for workplace co-worker emotional dumping. You know this one. You're at your desk. Your co-worker shows up, unannounced, uninvited, and starts unloading. Their relationship problems, their anxiety, their drama with another co-worker, and you, because you're the empath, you're the emotional support animal of the office. They've learned. You don't say no. You don't cut them off. You absorb everything. But here's what they don't see. After they leave feeling better, you sit there holding their anxiety, and you've got your own work to do, your own stress. But now you're carrying theirs too. From the research, knowledge workers in helping professions, therapists, teachers, healthcare, corporate roles, mention workplace boundary issues constantly. Open offices are sensory hell. Emotional labor expectations are crushing. Here's the script. I appreciate you trusting me with this. Right now, my capacity is full. I can help you find another resource, or we can schedule for later. I appreciate you trusting me. You're not rejecting them. You're honoring that they came to you. But right now, my capacity is full. This is the key phrase, not I'm too busy. Sounds harsh. Not I don't want to. Sounds mean. Capacity is full, neutral, clear, true. I can help you find another resource. You're not abandoning them, you're redirecting. This is boundaries with care. Or we can schedule for later, the alternative. But notice, it's your timeline, not theirs. Michael, 29, tech worker, used this at work. His team had learned he was the emotional guy, so they dumped on him constantly. First time he used this script, awkward silence. His coworker looked confused, but then said, "Oh, okay, yeah, maybe later." Second time, easier. By month 2, people stopped assuming he was always available. They started asking, "Do you have capacity?" Instead of just unloading. His productivity increased 30%. His exhaustion decreased 40%. And here's the twist. His relationships at work improved. Because now, when he did listen, he was actually present, not resentful. Script number 3, the energy check-in for friends. Friend crisis at 11 p.m. Your phone buzzes. It's your friend. They're crying. Something happened. They need you. And here's the thing. You want to be there for them. You're not a bad friend. But you've been absorbing everyone's emotions all day. You're empty. You need rest. But if you don't answer, you'll feel guilty all night. If you do answer, you'll be up until 2 a.m. holding their pain and wake up destroyed tomorrow. No win situation, except it's not. Here's the script. I want to be present for you. Let me check my energy and get back to you by specific time. Is that okay? I want to be present for you. You're stating your intention. You care. This isn't rejection, it's honesty. Let me check my energy. Revolutionary phrase for empaths. You're not saying, "I'm too tired," which triggers guilt. You're saying, "I need to assess," which is responsible. Get back to you by specific time. You're not ghosting. You're giving a timeline. This is key. Vague, "I'll get back to you," creates anxiety. Specific time creates trust. Is that okay? You're asking for their consent. This isn't a command. It's a request. And 99% of the time, they say yes. This script works because it buys you time. Maybe you check in and realize, actually, I do have energy for 20 minutes. Or you realize, no, I'm at 0. I need to sleep and respond tomorrow. Either way, you're choosing consciously instead of reacting automatically. And here's what happens. Real friends understand. Toxic friends don't. So this script is also a filter. The people who get angry when you need to check your energy, those are the people who are using you, not loving you. Script number 4, the gentle decline for unsolicited advice. Family advice. That's really control. You're going through something, a breakup, a career change, a life transition, and your family, with all the love in their hearts, starts telling you what to do. You should. If I were you, you're making a mistake. You're too sensitive about this. And you're screaming inside, "I didn't ask for advice. I know what I need. I'm handling this my way." But you don't say that. Because they'll say you're defensive, ungrateful, difficult. Here's the script. I can see you care. I'm handling this in my own way. If I need input, I'll ask. I can see you care. You're acknowledging their intention. They're not the enemy. They think they're helping. I'm handling this in my own way. Clear boundary. You're not asking permission. You're stating a fact. If I need input, I'll ask. This closes the loop. You're not rejecting help forever. You're saying, not now. When I'm ready, I'll come to you. This script specifically addresses the "you're too sensitive" accusation. From the research, empaths hear this constantly from family. It's dismissive. It's invalidating. This script doesn't argue with "too sensitive." It doesn't defend. It just redirects. I'm doing this my way, and that's the power. You're not trying to convince them you're right. You're just doing what you need to do. Script number 5, the empath exit. For toxic situations. This is the nuclear option for relationships that aren't working, for dynamics that are draining your soul. Maybe it's the friend who only calls when they need something, the family member who uses your empathy as a dumping ground, the relationship where you give 90% and they give 10%. You've tried softer boundaries. They didn't work. They bulldoze through. They guilt trip. They manipulate. And you're realizing, this relationship is killing me. I need to step back, maybe forever. But how do you say that without being the bad guy? Here's the script. I'm realizing this dynamic isn't healthy for me. I need to step back. I wish you well. I'm realizing this dynamic isn't healthy for me. Notice, you're not attacking them. You're not saying you're toxic. You're saying this dynamic. It's about the pattern, not their character. I need to step back. Clear action. Not maybe or I think. I need. This is non-negotiable. I wish you well. This is the release. You're not carrying anger. You're not trying to change them. You're letting go. No explanation, no justification, no over-apologizing. From the research, the empath-narcissist dynamic shows up in 8 out of 10 videos analyzed. This is pattern number 3. Empaths attract people who need energy. Narcissists need supply. It's a match made in hell. This script breaks the pattern because narcissists expect empaths to explain, justify, apologize. When you don't, when you just state the fact and exit, they have nothing to work with. Jessica used this script to exit a friendship of 15 years. Her friend had narcissistic tendencies. Every conversation was about the friend. Jessica was the emotional support, never supported. She used script number 5. Her friend responded with, "After everything I've done for you, you're so selfish." Jessica didn't respond. She held the boundary. 3 months later, 30% of her exhaustion was gone, just from removing that one relationship. That's how much toxic dynamics cost you. And that's how much you gain back when you exit. Okay, you have the scripts, but knowing the words isn't enough. You need to know how to use them without your empathy sabotaging you. Here's the 3-step practice framework. Step 1. Write the script. Don't try to memorize all. 5. Pick one, the one you need most right now. Maybe it's script number 1 for your mom. Maybe script number 2 for that coworker. Whatever it is, write it on a note card. Put it on your phone. Have it accessible. Because in the moment when your nervous system is hijacked by their emotion, you will forget. Your empathy will kick in, and you'll say yes. The script is your anchor. Step 2, practice out loud. This is crucial. Say it out loud. To yourself, to your mirror, to a friend. Because the first time you use a boundary script, your voice will shake, your heart will race, your body will scream, "Danger!" They're going to hate you. That's the nervous system reacting to change. It thinks boundaries equal abandonment. It thinks saying no equals death. So you practice. You desensitize your nervous system. You teach it. Boundaries are safety, not danger. Say it 10 times out loud before you need it. And when the moment comes, your body will remember. Step 3, expect resistance and hold anyway. Here's what will happen the first time you set a boundary. They'll be confused. They'll push back. They'll say things like, "You've changed." Yes, you're healing. You're being selfish. No, you're being self-preserving. You never used to be like this. Exactly. You used to destroy yourself. These are tests, unconscious tests. They're testing. Is this boundary real, or can I bulldoze through like I always did? And here's the how of holding boundaries. Don't defend. Don't justify. Don't over-explain. Just repeat the script, calmly, like a broken record. I hear that this is hard for you, and I'm still protecting my energy right now. I understand you're frustrated, and my capacity is still full. You're not arguing. You're just restating. And here's what research shows. It takes 3 out of 4 repetitions for people to accept a new boundary. The first time, they push. The second time, they test. The third time, they start adjusting. By the fourth time, they respect it. Remember, Michael? 29, tech worker, type 5, blocked creativity, using script number 2 at work. Let me show you what happened over 90 days. Month 1, resistance. Week 1, used boundary script with team. They looked shocked. One coworker said, "Wow, okay, didn't know you were too good for us now." Michael felt terrible, wanted to take it back, but he didn't. Week 2, used script with family about staying in tech forever versus pursuing music. His dad, "You're throwing your life away." His mom cried. Michael almost broke, but he held it. Week 4, co-workers started adjusting. They asked before dumping. Family still resistant but less aggressive. Month 2, persistence. Week 5 to 8, repeated scripts. Every time someone pushed, he calmly restated, no defending, no justifying, just, "I hear you, and I'm still choosing this." Family shifted from anger to confusion to reluctant acceptance. Work relationships started improving because now, when he did have capacity, people valued his time more. Month 3, respect. Week 9 to 12, family asked about his music project. Not mockingly, genuinely. Co-workers stopped emotional dumping, started asking, "Do you have capacity?" instead of assuming. And the creative energy that was suffocated, he launched a side project. Still has day job, but his soul is breathing again. Energy level went from 3 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. Resentment toward family dropped 60%. Work satisfaction increased even though same job. Here's the insight from Michael's story. People train you how to treat them, and you've trained them that you have no limits. You've trained your mom that she can call any time. You've trained your coworker that you'll always absorb. You've trained your friend that your energy is infinite, not maliciously, just consistently. And now you're retraining them. It will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort isn't a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign you're growing. Brené Brown says, "Clear is kind, unclear is unkind." Every time you say yes when you mean no, that's unkind to them and to you, because you build resentment, and eventually you snap, and then the relationship implodes. Boundaries prevent that. Boundaries keep relationships healthy long-term. So here's your assignment. Pick one script, one person, one situation. This week, not next month, this week, you're going to use it. Write it down right now. I'll give you 10 seconds. This week, I will use script number blank with person, when, situation. Got it? Good. That's your first step from exhausted empath to sovereign empath. Not changing your whole life overnight. Just one boundary, one script, one person. And when you do it, even if your voice shakes, even if they push back, even if you feel terrible, come back to the comments and tell me. I want to hear, "I did it. I used script number blank. Here's what happened." Because that's how transformation happens. Not in theory, in practice. One boundary at a time. That's boundaries. That's how you stop the cycle of give until you snap. But here's what you might be wondering. Okay, I have the shadow work. I have the somatic techniques. I have the boundaries. Now what? What's the path from where I am now? Exhausted, overwhelmed, living for everyone else to where I want to be. Sovereign, whole, living as myself. That's what's next. The 90-day integration roadmap. From soul exhaustion to sovereign empathy. Let's map your path. Okay? You've learned the 5 types. You've done shadow work exercises. You've practiced boundaries. For 0.5, now comes the question I get asked most, what's next? Because here's the thing that Jung discovered in 40 years of clinical work, and this is crucial. You can do all the shadow work in the world. You can journal every morning. You can memorize boundary scripts. But if you don't have a roadmap, if you don't understand what integration actually looks like over time, you will drift, and drifting, that's how empaths end up right back where they started 6 months later, exhausted, overwhelmed, absorbing everyone's pain, wondering, I did all the work. Why didn't anything change? Jung spent 40 years documenting this exact phenomenon. He watched patients have massive breakthroughs, tears, insights, aha moments, and then slide back. Not because they were weak, not because shadow work doesn't work, but because they treated transformation like an event instead of a process. And that process, it has predictable stages. It has a timeline. And if you know what to expect in month 1 versus month 2 versus month 3, you don't panic when the old patterns resurface. You don't quit. You understand this is part of integration. Dr. Aaron's research with 1,500 highly sensitive people confirmed it. The people who successfully integrated their sensitivity. They all moved through the same 3 phases: stillness, boundaries, emergence. So that's what this section is about. The 90-day path from soul exhaustion to sovereign empathy. From I absorb everyone's pain and drain myself helping to I hold space without losing myself. I serve from overflow, not depletion. And by the end of these next 7 minutes, you'll have a roadmap you can start today. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Today. Here's what 30 years of research from Jung to Dr. Elaine Aron to thousands of clinical case studies reveals: transformation doesn't happen randomly. It doesn't happen when you feel ready. It happens in phases, predictable stages. Jung documented this with patient M, the woman who couldn't engage socially because she saw through every facade. Her integration took 18 months, but it followed a clear pattern. First, stillness, accepting the pause. Then, boundaries, protecting her energy. Finally, emergence, stepping back into the world as her authentic self. Dr. Aron's research with 1,500 HSPs confirmed the same pattern. People who successfully integrated their sensitivity. They didn't skip steps. They moved through phases. Think about it like this. You can't build the second floor of a house before you pour the foundation. You can't install the roof before you build the walls. Each phase of integration builds on the last. Try to set boundaries before you've done shadow work. They collapse under guilt. Try to emerge before you've set boundaries. You burn out immediately. So let me break down the 90-day sovereignty path for you. 3 months, 3 phases, each with specific goals, specific practices, and specific success metrics. Not vague advice, not just be yourself, actual milestones you can track. Month 1, stillness. Month 1, stillness. Accepting the pause. This is where you are right now. You've just watched this video. You've learned about the 5 types. Maybe you did the mirror technique and saw your shadow for the first time. Maybe you're type 3, realizing you've been absorbing everyone's emotions for decades. And here's what month 1 is about. You stop blaming yourself. Remember Sarah? The 34-year-old corporate therapist who couldn't get out of bed? Month 1 for her was brutal because every single morning her brain said the same thing. You should be productive. You should be helping people. You're a therapist and you can't even help yourself. What's wrong with you? That voice? It was loud. It was cruel. And it felt true. But the mirror technique revealed something Sarah had never seen. Her resentment toward lazy clients who don't try wasn't about them. It was her exhaustion projected onto them. She was the one who wanted to stop trying. But she'd built her entire identity around being a helper. So she judged her shadow, exhaustion, the need for rest, in everyone else. Once she saw that projection, the self-blame started to crack. So here's your month 1 roadmap. Week 1-2, shadow work daily, 10 minutes, mirror technique from this video, or projection journaling. Track your patterns. Every time you judge someone strongly, ask, is this trait in me too? Week 3-4, add energy management. The shower technique from Dr. Orloff, 5 minutes after any social interaction. Visualize washing off absorbed emotions. Grounding exercises before bed. Goal for month 1. Journal 20 out of 30 days. That's it. Not perfect, not life-changing yet. Just consistent practice. Success metric you're looking for. You stop saying, I should be doing more. You start accepting. Rest is part of transformation. Stillness isn't laziness. It's integration happening beneath the surface. Month 2. Boundaries. Month 2. Boundaries. Setting limits. Once you've stopped self-blame, once you've spent 30 days watching your patterns instead of judging them, it's time to protect your energy. Because here's the trap Jung warned about. You can do shadow work for years. You can integrate every rejected part of yourself. But if you're still saying yes to everyone, if you're still absorbing every emotion in the room, if you're still prioritizing others' needs over your own nervous system, you will burn out again. Guaranteed. Sarah's month 2 started in week 5. She'd journaled for 23 days in month 1. She'd seen her shadow. She understood her exhaustion wasn't laziness, it was a message. But she was still carrying 40 clients, still answering emails at 10 p.m., still saying yes when her supervisor added just one more to her caseload. So in week 5, Sarah used boundary script number 1, the loving no. She walked into her supervisor's office and said, I need to reduce my client load by 40% so I can show up fully for the ones I keep. I know this isn't standard, and I'm choosing my sustainability over your preference. Her supervisor's first reaction? Resistance. That's not how we do things here. Everyone else handles 40 clients. But Sarah held the boundary. She didn't defend. She didn't justify. She repeated, I understand this is inconvenient, and I'm still choosing this. Week 7, her supervisor approved it. Why? Because when you're calm and clear, when there's no wavering, no guilt, no apology in your energy, people respect boundaries. They might not like them, but they respect them. Brené Brown's research on boundaries confirms this. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. When you say yes but mean no, when you agree but resent it later, when you help but burn out and ghost everyone, that's unkind to everyone, including yourself. Here's your month 2 practice, week 5 to 6. Practice the 5 boundary scripts with safe people first, friends who get it, family members who are supportive, The goal isn't perfection, it's repetition. Say the words out loud. Feel them in your body. Week 7 to 8, apply boundaries in harder situations. Work, difficult family, the friend who always calls in crisis mode. Energy vampires. Goal for month 2, say no. 3 times without guilt, spiraling for days afterward. Just 3 times. Success metric. 1 relationship improves noticeably. Maybe your mom stops calling daily, and now it's twice a week. And you both enjoy the calls more. Maybe your coworker stops emotional dumping because you've set a clear limit. 1 shift. That's progress. Month 3. Emergence. Month 3. Emergence. Stepping forward. By month 3, something has shifted. You've done 60 days of shadow work. You've set boundaries and survived the discomfort. Your energy is starting to return. Not fully, but you notice it. You sleep better. You don't collapse after social events. You can actually feel where you end and others begin. Now, it's time to emerge. Not as the old you, as the sovereign empath. Jung called this phase rebirth. And I need you to understand, it's not dramatic. It's not loud. You don't wake up one morning completely transformed with angel choirs singing. It's quiet, it's subtle, but it's real. You're not the same person you were 90 days ago. The things that used to drain you, some of them don't anymore. The people who used to trigger you, the charge is gone. You're different. Remember Michael? 29, tech worker, type 5 block creativity. He'd spent 10 years in a job that paid well but crushed his soul. His parents said, be practical. So he abandoned music. And that creative energy, it rotted inside him and became depression. Month 3 was Michael's emergence phase. He didn't quit his tech job. He didn't make some grand dramatic gesture. But he did launch his music project as a side thing. Spent 5 hours a week, just 5, working on songs again. His family's reaction? First month, are you having a midlife crisis? Second month, silence. Third month, his dad asked to hear one of his songs. And the creative energy that had been blocked for a decade, it started flowing again. His soul? No longer suffocating. Here's your month 3 practice. Week 9 to 10, find your people. Join the Sovereign Empath community in the Discord. Or find one person in real life who gets it. Not your whole life. Just one authentic connection. Real humans who understand what you've been through. Week 11 to 12. Share your story with one person. Not the internet. Not everyone. Just one friend. One family member. One coworker who you trust. Tell them, I've been doing this work. Here's what I've learned about myself. Goal for month 3. Make one authentic connection. One person who truly sees you. Not the mask. Not the persona. Not the version you performed for years. You. Success metric. You feel less alone. That crushing isolation, the pain point number 1 that 60% of empaths experience, it starts to lift, not completely, but enough that you can breathe. So that's the 90-day path. 3 phases. Month 1, stillness. Stop self-blame, do shadow work, accept that rest is transformation. Month 2, boundaries. Protect your energy, practice scripts, say no without guilt. Month 3, emergence. Find your people, share your story, step forward as yourself. 0.5. And here's the shift. Old identity. I absorb everyone's pain. I drain myself helping others. I can't say no without guilt. I'm exhausted, and I don't know why. New identity. I hold space without losing myself. I serve from overflow, not depletion. I know where I end and others begin. I'm a sovereign empath. That's integration, and it's closer than you think. Now, before I show you Sarah's full transformation, what actually happened when she followed this 90-day path, I need to tell you what no one else talks about. Integration is not linear. Some weeks, you'll feel amazing. I'm healing, I've integrated, I've got boundaries, I'm a sovereign empath. Other weeks, you'll feel like you're back at square one. Shadow work brings up OLD stuff. Boundaries trigger guilt. You'll say yes when you meant to say no and spend 3 days spiraling. That's normal. Jung documented this in every single case study. He called it the spiral path. You're not going backwards. You're going deeper. So here's your compass when month 2 gets hard or month 3 feels impossible. Rule number 1, progress isn't perfection. Missed 5 days of journaling? Start again on day 6. Didn't hold a boundary? Try again tomorrow. This isn't pass or fail. It's practice. Sarah missed 7 days in month 1. She's still transformed. Rule number 2, one phase at a time. Don't try to do shadow work and boundaries and emergence all at once in week 1. You'll overwhelm yourself and quit. Month 1, shadow work. Month 2, ADD boundaries. Month 3, ADD emergence. Build on what's working. Rule number 3, track what shifts. At the end of each month, ask yourself, what's one thing that's different? Not everything, one thing. Maybe you slept better 1 week. Maybe you said no once without spiraling. Maybe one relationship improved 10%. That's progress. Write it down. And if you follow this path, even imperfectly, here's what's possible. 90 days from now, you're not the same person. You're not absorbing everyone's pain like a sponge. You're not hiding your depth to fit in. You're not burning out to prove you care. You're holding space without losing yourself. You're serving from overflow. You're living as a sovereign empath. But you might be thinking, this sounds great, but does it actually work? Do people really transform in 90 days? Let me show you. Remember Sarah? Let me tell you exactly what happened. Sarah, 34 years old, corporate therapist in Seattle. Type 1, misalignment exhaustion. Couldn't get out of bed. Here's what happened when she followed the 90-day sovereignty path. Month 1, stillness. Day 1, 30. Week 1, Sarah started the mirror technique. Her biggest trigger, lazy clients who don't try. Day 3, she wrote in her journal, I am lazy. Saying it out loud made her cry because she'd built her entire identity around being the helper who never stops trying. Admitting she had the capacity for laziness, it shattered something. But Jung would say, that shattering, that's the beginning of integration. Week 2, pattern recognition. Every time she judged a client for not trying hard enough, she'd ask, when have I not tried? When have I taken the easy path? Answers came flooding. I chose this career to please my parents, not because I love it. I stayed in it because quitting felt like failure. I've been taking the easy path for 10 years by not confronting this. Week 3, 4. The guilt hit hard. If I'm not a therapist, who am I? I'm 34, I've invested a decade. I have student loans. But she kept journaling, 23 days out of 30. Not perfect, but consistent. Month 1. Result, journal entry, day 23. For the first time in 10 years, I asked myself, what do I actually want? Not what I should want, what I want. And I don't have an answer yet, but I'm asking the question. Month 2, boundaries, day 3160. Week 5. Sarah used boundary script number 1 with her supervisor. I need to reduce my client load by 40%. Her supervisor pushed back. Sarah held firm. 3 days of anxiety followed. Did I just ruin my career? Week 6. She practiced boundaries with her mom. Her mom called daily. Had for years. Sarah used script number 3. Mom, I love you. I need to protect my energy right now. Can we talk twice a week instead of daily? Her mom cried. Said, You're abandoning me? Sarah almost caved. But she remembered rule number 1. Progress isn't perfection. She held the boundary. Week 7. Her supervisor approved the client load reduction. Her mom adjusted to twice weekly calls. And something shifted. Sarah had 40% more energy, not from resting more, from giving less to the wrong things. Week 8. First no without guilt spiral. A friend asked her to help move apartments. Sarah said, I'm not available that day. No explanation, no guilt for 3 days afterward, just peace. Month 2. Result. Energy level went from 2 out of 10 to 5 out of 10. Not healed, but functioning. Month 3. Emergence. Day 6190. Week 10. Sarah joined the Sovereign Empath community, lurked for a week. Then posted, Hi, I'm Sarah, type 1. Corporate therapist realizing I've been living my parents' dream, not mine. 47. People responded. She cried, reading the comments. She wasn't alone. Week 11. She told her partner the truth. I think I need to leave therapy, not helping people, but corporate therapy specifically. I want to coach. I want to work with 10 people deeply, not 40 people, surface level. Her partner said, I've been waiting for you to say that for 2 years. Week 12. Sarah gave notice. She was terrified, but for the first time in a decade, she felt alive. 90 days later, the results. What changed? Energy level, 8 out of 10, was 2 out of 10. Client load, 10 coaching clients, was 40 therapy clients. Serving from overflow, was depletion. Met partner through community who understands her depth. Authentic life score, 9 out of 10, was 3 out of 10. Sarah's quote, day 90. My exhaustion wasn't the problem. It was the messenger. It was my soul screaming, You're living the wrong life. And I finally listened. I'm not fixing my exhaustion. I'm honoring it. Tapihav. That's the shift. That's integration. From exhausted empath to sovereign empath, not hustling harder, listening deeper. That's one person. 90 days. Real transformation. And if you're thinking, okay, I'm ready, I want to start this path today, here's what you do next. Comment your type. Join the community. Download the workbook and start. Because your exhaustion, it's not the end. It's the invitation. The invitation to stop living everyone else's life and start living as yourself. So let's talk about how you actually begin. All right. You've been here for 52 minutes. That's longer than most people commit to anything in their lives. So before we close, I need to ask you something important. Not for me, for you. You came here exhausted. Maybe you couldn't get out of bed. Maybe you were drowning in everyone else's emotions. Maybe you were living a life that wasn't yours. And now you know. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not too sensitive. What 30 years of research from Jung to Dr. Aaron to neuroscience confirms. You have a neurological trait that processes reality more deeply than 80% of the population. The exhaustion wasn't failure. It was a message. Your soul saying, turn around. There's another way to live. And that other way? It's not hustling harder. It's not fixing yourself. It's listening deeper. It's becoming sovereign. From soul exhaustion to sovereign empathy. That's the shift. Not in 5 years. In 90 days, if you do the work. Remember Jung's patient from 1920? The woman who couldn't get out of bed? Living for approval, working a job that crushed her spirit, married to a man she respected but didn't love? Here's what happened. After 6 months of analysis with Jung, she made a radical choice. She left the marriage, quit the job, moved to a small village in Switzerland, and became a teacher, her authentic calling. Jung documented that her exhaustion vanished within weeks, not because her external circumstances were better, but because her psyche no longer had to fight against her life. He wrote in his notes, "The self withdrew its energy as protection. Once she aligned with her authentic path, the energy returned of its own accord. She lived another 40 years, taught hundreds of children, never remarried. And according to Jung's later writings, she described those decades as the first time she'd truly been alive. Same pattern, same message. Your exhaustion is asking you the same question Jung's patient faced. Will you keep living for approval, or will you risk alignment? That's not a rhetorical question. That's the question. So here's what I want you to do right now, while it's fresh. While you still feel this, I want you to take 30 seconds and answer 3 questions. Not for the algorithm, not for me, for you. Because when you declare your intention, when you make it visible, not just internal, research shows you're 42% more likely to follow through. That's behavioral psychology. That's how transformation starts. So here are the 3 questions. Question 1. Of the 5 types, which one hit you hardest? Type 1, misalignment, living the wrong life. Type 2, unmourned grief, carrying losses you never honored. Type 3, emotional overload, absorbing everyone's pain. Type 4, transition, exhaustion, between identities. Type 5, blocked creativity, unexpressed purpose. Which one is you? Question 2, which practice will you actually do this week? Mirror technique, shadow journaling, boundary scripts, somatic release? Pick one. Not all of them. One. Question 3, what's one boundary you'll set this week? Just one. Specific. Not, I'll have better boundaries, but I'll use script number 1 with my mom on Sunday dinner. Got your 3 answers? Good. Now, here's what I want you to do. Go to the comments right now. Scroll down and write. Type your number. Go into your practice, boundary, your specific action. That's it. Simple. Example. Type 3. Going to try mirror technique this week. Boundary. Telling my sister I can't be her therapist anymore. Or type 1 + 5. Doing shadow work daily. Boundary. Quitting job that's killing my soul. Just write it. Make it real, and I promise you this. I will reply to every single comment with personalized guidance for your type. Not a bot, me. Because I've been where you are, and I know what works. So go. Comment. Declare your intention. Join the 2,000+ others who've already done this. This is how we transform. Not alone. Together. And while you're down there in the comments, you'll see hundreds of others just like you. People who wrote things like, I'm Sarah, type 1, 10 years in wrong career. Finally, making the change. Type 3 + 4. Divorce, absorbing everyone's grief, don't know who I am anymore, but I'm doing the work. Male empath, type 5. Finally someone gets it. Starting music project next month. You're not alone in this. There are thousands of us. But here's the truth. A 60-minute video can teach you. It can't transform you. Transformation requires community. Real people. Real conversations. Real support. So I built something for us. The Sovereign Empath Community, a private Discord server where 500+ empaths are actively practicing what you just learned. Not another Facebook group where people complain. Not another Reddit where everyone's anonymous and cynical. This is a place where we actually do the work together. What's inside? Weekly shadow work practice sessions. Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. We do the mirror technique together in real time. No more "I'll do it later." Boundary support channel. Post your situation. Get specific scripts and feedback within 24 hours from people who actually understand. Monthly live Q&A with me. Ask anything about your soul exhaustion type, your shadow work challenges, whatever you need. And we're planning in-person meetups in major cities, NYC, LA, Chicago, Austin. Because meeting your people face-to-face changes everything. There's a free tier, full community access, all channels, monthly Q&A, and a paid tier, $15 a month, weekly live practice sessions, early video access, private coaching channels. Link is in the description. First 100 people who join get founding member status, $10 a month forever. You don't have to decide right now. But I will tell you this, you can't do this work alone. Jung knew that. Dr. Aaron knew that. Every person who successfully integrated their soul exhaustion knew that. We're waiting for you. One more thing before we close. This video is 60 minutes long. I didn't make it that long for the algorithm. I made it that long because depth matters more than reach. But here's what I need from you. Think of one person in your life who needs this. Maybe it's your therapist friend who's burning out. Maybe it's your partner who doesn't understand why you're exhausted all the time. Maybe it's your sister who's absorbing everyone's pain and doesn't know how to stop. Maybe it's that coworker who gives and gives until there's nothing left. Think of that one person. Send them this video with a message. Watch this. It explains me, and it might explain you too. That's it. No pressure, no obligation. But I'll tell you something. The person who sent me my first Jung video, that person saved my life. Literally. I was in the darkest place, and one video changed everything. Your share might be that moment for someone. So if this helped you, pass it on. Not for me, for them. Let me show you something. 3 people, 90 days, same 5 types, same practices, same community. Sarah, type 1, misalignment. Before, 10 years living for approval. Corporate therapist, drowning in others' pain. Couldn't get out of bed. After, quit therapy. Started coaching practice. Serves 10 clients from overflow, not depletion. Met partner who values her depth. Energy, 2 out of 10 to 8 out of 10. Her words, "My exhaustion wasn't the problem. It was the messenger. I was living the wrong life." Michael, type 2 plus 5, unmourned grief plus blocked creativity. Before, 29, tech worker, male empath hiding sensitivity, creative dreams suffocated. Parents said, "Get a real job." He complied, soul dying. After, side music project launched, family stopped pushing, found partner who loves his sensitive side, still has day job, but his soul is no longer suffocating. His words, "I thought sensitivity was weakness. It's actually my superpower. I just needed permission to use it." Jessica, type 3 plus 4, emotional overload plus transition. Before, 41, divorced mother, absorbing everyone's emotions, no boundaries between identities. Lost after, set boundaries with ex, family, friends using the scripts, co-parenting, improved 10 and X, started new career aligned with values. Found herself again. Her words, "I thought boundaries meant I didn't care. Boundaries mean I care enough to show up fully, not half dead." 3 different people, 3 different combinations of soul exhaustion. Same journey from soul exhaustion to sovereign empathy. Not in 5 years. In 90 days. If you do the work, if you use the tools, if you join the community. That's what's possible for you. This is your invitation. If you're still here at 61 minutes, I want to say something to you directly. You are not broken. You are not too sensitive. You are not lazy. You are not failing. Your exhaustion is not a character flaw. It's a message, and the message is this: stop living for everyone else. Stop absorbing pain that isn't yours. Stop saying yes when your soul is screaming no. Start living as yourself, as a sovereign empath, as someone who holds space without losing themselves. Your exhaustion isn't the end, it's the invitation. Welcome home.